Welcome to the Love Life with Lauren podcast with me, your host, Lauren Jobson. Most days you'll find me learning and sharing about how we work as human beings so we can have the resources to overcome past pain and the challenges of daily life to live happier, intentional and fulfilling lives. I do this while adoring and loving on my incredible hubby, two beautiful daughters and our black and white cavoodle dog. Here on the podcast, I'll share with you all things learning to love ourselves enough to create a life we absolutely love. From my 22 years in the human potential space, and since teaching thousands of people since 2009, the magical life-changing modalities such as NLP, hypnosis, matrix therapies, and archetypal coaching, I'm excited to bring you practical tips, techniques, and insights on how to improve your daily experiences with your physical, mental, emotional and spiritual well-being. Enjoy today's episode. Woohoo! So here we are, officially the first episode back since I did have a podcast years ago, and I'm bringing it out of the archives, refreshed, rejuvenated, revamped, because I want to share my work, my genius, my tips, and my love for us as human beings and reaching more of our potential, yes. And what that really is about is, being happy and joyful as much as we can in life amongst everything. Because I just want to say, first up, really, that this is not about loving life all the time and meaning to be, feeling happy all the time and feeling joyful all the time. That is not the human experience, is not realistic. So what I want to bring to your ears are ways that you can love yourself no matter what is going on for you in your life. And what does that mean? Well, it means a number of things. It means to remember that you are in process. Life is in process. And so you're never stuck or stagnant or you're never going to be in a place where what you're feeling now is going to be how it is for the rest of your life. No, it is just a temporary time, and it is a place to invite yourself to go inwards and really listen and understand what is causing you negative emotions and how can you then understand yourself and forgive yourself. So forgiveness is another thing. So we've got process and self-forgiveness to allow yourself to learn from what you're going through so that you can learn, grow, and enjoy the next piece in your life. Take the resources from what you're going through now and learn, grow, become more of who you are. Enjoy the process as much as you can. And the idea, absolutely, is to have more and more pockets of time, more and more times, more and more days, months, years, where you do feel in flow, where you do feel gratitude for being alive, and you can feel, really joyful and grateful even when things are really tough. So it can be this beautiful paradox. I say beautiful, but I can appreciate it doesn't always feel beautiful. The thing is, paradoxes are beautiful, and that means to hold two opposites at the same time. So if life is difficult and you feel negative emotions and, maybe physically things aren't going well for you, well, the paradox that we can hold as human beings is that whilst things are negative in certain ways, we can actually still feel positive in other ways. So you can have a higher perspective, a different perspective with no matter what's going on for you. It's where can you find the joy? Where can you access that gratitude for what you do have? And in that comes perspective and places where you can bring more and more joy to your life. So today's episode comes from my amazing masterclass that I'm really proud of, where I share over a number of masterclasses the 8 possible ways that we can self-sabotage ourselves. So I'm going to share with you in this episode the first sabotage. And the quality of the audio will get better in future episodes. So this is a learning and recording this masterclass. I can do better audio for the future. So please just forgive the audio for these first few episodes when it comes to the profound wisdom that are the possible sabotages that we can do. And they come from the principles of consciousness, the ways that we are all conscious as human beings. And what this brings for us are all the resources, our most resourceful times, the most ideal times, that when we are in what we call the light, when we are in flow, joy, resourcefulness, happiness, success, we are accessing the best light of the principles of consciousness. So that'll make more and more sense as you listen to these episodes on the self-sabotages. So enjoy this episode. The first 3 sabotages that everyone makes. So we all make them at different times in our life. And knowing them helps us bring them into the light. So you're going to hear me talk about that a lot today. Bringing something into the light means bringing it to its best, most ideal form, bringing it into a resource, something positive, something fantastic for us, compared to in the shadow, where that's the problem, and that's not great, and it doesn't feel good to us, and it's not working for us. So when you hear me use the words shadow and light, this is what I mean, and that will make sense as we go through this. All right, let's do these first 3 sabotages. Firstly, what is a sabotage? Well, where you are today and where do you want to be, right? When we talk about dreams, desires, getting results in your life, in order for us to think about how we might sabotage ourselves, well, we've had to have had an idea, a sense of what we want to start with. Now, some of us are more clear about what we want than others, or at other times in our life. You might not have officially written a goal lately. Maybe you have, which is super cool too. It's just to think of, we always have, I'm going to say it was a big generalization, we always have desires, dreams for ourselves. And we always then can compare that to where we are today. Where are we today and where do we want to be? And all the action in between those two things, this question of, is what I'm doing getting me closer to this or not? Is it getting me closer to my goals, results, and desires for all the different areas of my life? So I want to think about what's going on for you. What's a place where it needs improvement? And you may notice the place that needs most improvement is a place where sabotage is happening. So let's look at these sabotages. Sabotage 1, the question, it's a few questions. Are you ready to stop blaming having a lack of energy for not doing what you want? I get it. Having a lack of energy, not easy. This sabotage, when I'm talking now on the sabotage in the shadow, in the light, it tells us, it shows us how we can solve this. How can we, at any moment in time, have more energy? Are you ready to stop busyness on the wrong things? We can all be busy. Is it on the things that are getting you closer to your heart's desires and what's best for you? Or are you doing things that you think are important, but they're actually not that important? Are you ready to feel the freedom of your heart and spirit speaking through you again, like you did when you were a child? Now, this first principle in the light, then, in order for this to be the first sabotage, what we have is a principle that brings us into the light of that. And it's this question. It goes, do I love myself enough to be inspired and have the energy I want? Because the principle of consciousness here is we must have energy. So I totally get it if you have felt a problem with not having enough energy. Because this is the first principle for a reason. We do need energy in order to start a new adventure, start any quest, to really do our day-to-day life. And the secret to having energy is being inspired, is inspiration. The archetype is the innocent adventurer. So when we speak about a principle, we have what's called an archetype. I'm not going to go too much into what is an archetype today, but I'm going to share with you that it is a principle of consciousness. And the first archetype that gives us the resources in the light is the innocent adventurer. And you can see this picture and it might speak to you, your unconscious mind. A picture tells 1,000 words, and your unconscious mind is symbolic. So the part of you that makes meaning and makes sense of things can even just see this picture and connect with it and get some symbols and some messages from it. So what's going on in this step, again, in terms of it being a shadow, let's just extend this. How it is as a sabotage, not necessarily just a shadow, but in terms of the sabotage, this is busyness on the wrong things, not enough energy to do what you want, not connected to your childlike innocence and play. When's the last time you played? When's the last time you just had fun? When we're uninspired, we can go into a depression, feel depressed. What about feeling no sense of freedom, or too much freedom in the wrong places? Too much freedom in the wrong places where we're not disciplining ourselves where we need to, not making the right choices. And what about this feeling of being stuck, having no trust in the universe as well? This is how this principle in the shadow plays as a sabotage for us. So again, to bring it into the light, we must have inspiration. Now, if we look at that word, it looks like it can say in spirit. Inspiration. What does that mean? It's connecting to the part of you that knows everything, that is connected to what is best for you, that is part of your soul. So I've moved my video up so that you can see these words. And inspiration, right? It's this feeling of excitement. I could add that as a word, excitement. When is a time that you were just lit up, where your heart just felt really happy about that thing when you think about it? And having fun, freedom, and play, by the way, can totally help you connect with your inspiration. Okay, now a big other word is enthusiasm. When's the last time you had enthusiasm for something? That's what this principle, this archetype, tells us to do when we're in the sabotage of not having enough energy. We need to approach things with enthusiasm and approaching things anew and fresh. Later on, there's a principle, I'm not going to share it with you today. It's in our 22 principles of consciousness, and we do all of them in order for us to live as a human being. And we've got the first 8 principles of manifesting. Later on, when we're looking at transforming our life, there is a principle that reminds us that we must always reclaim our innocence, meaning to approach something new with our resources that we've gained from our past, but not our negative emotions and built up negative limiting beliefs. Like, you probably have maybe connected already with examples, but here are some examples. What about getting into a new relationship whilst you let go of the past pain of it? Hold on to the learning so that you can go into a new relationship with a new innocence. So you're not projecting and expecting repeated old patterns, but you're inviting yourself and giving yourself full permission to experience something completely different than maybe you ever have before. And this is also what this principle tells us, to start things afresh, to give it a go, like you're a child first doing it, or doing it for the first time. and connected to your own higher self and heart's desires. This is what this principle reminds us of. This is the principle of infinity, infinite possibilities, all possibilities. This is a place of ideas. So this can also manifest for us as having so many ideas that we get overwhelmed. Don't know if you relate to that. And the next principle, by the way, helps us, and it tells us, I will share, it tells us to choose one idea and focus on that one idea at a time. So here are some questions for you to consider. I'm going to read the gold first. What could be stopping my inspiration? Oh, I didn't mean to have 2 question marks there, but that's okay. And how will I connect again to my inspiration? How will you think and ask yourself now, how could I connect with my inspiration? And what do I want to have more energy for? What do I want to have more energy for? Yeah. Because, by the way, this sabotage can be caused by unresolved childhood wounding, such as being overly criticized as a child. And it can also happen if we don't look after our physical body because of childhood woundings as well, because of unresolved pain in our past. And not knowing our passions, not connecting to what makes us happy and what makes us passionate and alive and feel happy, that can have us do this sabotage, feeling lost, feeling scattered. And instead of seeing it in a way of freedom, we're starting to see it as overwhelm and nowhere to go. Because the innocent adventurer doesn't really care for direction at this point. It wants to just be free. Okay? So you're just here looking at all the ideas, and there is this passion. Children are passionate about certain things. So if you have not connected with something that's made you passionate, you can't think of things that make you passionate, then this principle invites you to reconsider that and to look and explore what's made you passionate. So we have some cool techniques we do at our passion and purpose training that specifically helps people connect with their soul's passions and all the things that have made you happy. And what we come to realize and learn is it's not the thing that we're passionate about. It's not really what we're doing. It's the meaning we put to it. Everything in our world is not about the thing or the thing that we're doing. It's about what it brings us, the essence. You know, what do you love about if you draw and you love drawing or coloring in or painting or cross-stitching or talking with people or being in nature, being with animals? Yes, those things are important and they matter. And what makes you passionate is actually your essence that you're putting in that moment. Because for someone else, being with animals is about nurturing and love. Whereas, I don't know if this is a great example because I can't think what I'm going to say next. Whereas for someone else, animals could be on a farm and the animals have a different purpose. And so my unconscious mind's just brought that up, right? And so everything in our world is always the context that creates the meaning as well. So all meaning is context dependent, how it sits for you. And it's not about the thing, it's about the meaning around it all. What's this thing that makes you happy, makes you passionate? And what do you want more energy for, by the way? What do you want to have more energy for? So this is the first sabotage. All of these different things, if you can get a sense of this energy here, when we're not being playful, right? We're not being free, fun, inspired. We don't have energy. That is the first sabotage. I hope you gained some helpful insight into how you can love yourself even more today to create a life you love. Remember, life is a process and you are in process. So all of your feelings are valid and can lead you to incredible learnings and growth if you only choose to be self-aware and self-accepting, to connect into yourself and listen to that beautiful inner wisdom of yours. Please come over to my socials, including Instagram at Lauren Jobson, and to share with me what you learnt from today's episode by commenting on this episode's post. I'd love to connect and hear from you. Subscribe and share the love by sharing this podcast with others. I hope to be in your ears again in the next episode.